This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is February 20th, 2025. Jonathan Osborne, as always, joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin, did you get anything in the mail today?
Yes, I did. I got a really great credit card offer. And so, yeah, let me tell you about it really fast. No, just kidding. I got a pair of shoes. Did you get a pair of shoes as well?
I may have. Actually, I did. They are right here. The Seattle Rotary Jordan Air, the Paolo Player Edition, the P5s. You can kind of see that if you're watching that on YouTube right there on the tongue. These are pretty sharp, man. Obviously, we've seen all of the photos. We saw the promotional photos of Paolo wearing them. But seeing them in person, like I love teal and like the lime green. My favorite color combination of all time is actually like teal or like turquoise and purple. Shout out to like the old school Hornets kind of stuff. I just love that color combination. But the teal and the lime green, like obviously it's to play off of the Seattle Rotary, but it kind of gives me kind of Seahawks vibes a little bit, which makes sense. He's from Seattle. But what I was really surprised about is just how comfortable these are. I've had a couple pairs of Jordans in the past that weren't really that comfortable to wear. When you're talking about basketball shoes, you're not always really going for comfort. Like you're more so going for function and performance. But these I can see myself wearing pretty casually. And I just like the way that they look. Like I'm excited to put on, a pair of jeans or, my little Fabletics Hoochie Daddy shorts. Ooh. And like a, clean white tee or something and wear those around. Like I'm a big fan of these. I feel like they did a great job. Yeah, really, really happy with these. And for $110, like that's a lot of sneakers on the market are way more expensive than that. So really pumped for these.
Yeah, they're definitely the loudest shoes that I have ever owned. If you've been watching the show for a while, or you might remember, I just wear black everything. That's all I wear pretty much, just because I had, that's just the way I roll.
You've been dabbling a little bit lately with some color.
Here's what I was going to say. I'm going to wear those with my new stuff hat because it's got the green tie in there. I might even be able to throw in that new Duvin shirt that has the stuff theme going. So I might do, the stuff hat, the stuff shirt with those new Jordan hairs, whatever you want to say, on the bottom.
Yeah, what? Jordan Air. I didn't even put that like two and two together.
Yes, Jonathan. That's the play on words.
Man, I am stupid.
But
wow.
Air, H-E-I-R, being like the next in line, like the next.
It's like is that what they call a double entendre? Is that what that is?
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah, they're pretty sweet. It's definitely outside of my normal. So when I walk around in those, the people I know are like my kids. They're gonna be like, "Who are you? And where is our dad?" But yeah,
okay, I don't think it's a double entendre, because this is the definition that I'm getting. A double entendre is a word or phrase that has two meanings, one of which is usually obvious, and the other is often risque or sexual.
Well,
so I think it's just a double meaning.
Hey, if you want to wear these shoes in certain ways, you can do that too. So take your pick. All right. They look great. We'll leave it at that.
The title of this episode is now Double Entendre. No, I'm joking.
That's funny.
Kevin, even like the other like Duvin polo, like the kind of knit polo, like I think you could pull that off with these.
Maybe
like,
you'll have to wait and see.
I like the new kind of swagger that Kevin has had, like getting outside of your comfort zone, making some bold fashion choices. It's a good thing. It shows growth.
If you say so, we'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, I'm still an old man.
Commented on your new, random fashion choices.
Yeah. I'm a little too old for some of the stuff, but we'll see. We'll see how far we can take it.
Completely disagree. You're never too old to wear the latest and greatest in fashion trends in the world of fashion, But it's all about the confidence. That's I guess that's how you pull everything off, right? Okay, we're going to jump right into the state of the Magic here. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Obviously, there hasn't been any Magic basketball or really any Magic news that has come out since our last episode. just want to give everybody a reminder and a refresh of where the Magic are as they go into Thursday, because, hey, we actually have Magic basketball today as the Magic are taking on the Atlanta Hawks. So taking a look at the state of the Magic, at 27-29 on the year, the Magic are 7th in the Eastern Conference, 18 games back of Cleveland, 12.5 games back of Boston, 10 games back of New York, 4.5 games back of Indiana, and 4.5 games back of Milwaukee for that matter. 2.5 games back of Detroit, a half game up on Atlanta and Miami, 4.5 games up on Chicago. So the Magic are 7th, but you are literally right. Like you're a loss in Atlanta, Miami wins away from being the 9th seed here. So the Magic have to get back to winning immediately. And although they're starting on the road in Atlanta, then their next, 6-7 games are going to be at home. So got to get right back into your winning ways. On the season, the Magic are 29th in offensive rating with an offensive rating of 107.2. If you're unfamiliar with offensive rating, that means how many points your team is scoring per 100 possessions. So per 100 possessions, the Magic are scoring 107.2 points on average. And they are 3rd in defensive rating with a defensive rating of 108.7. So that means per 100 possessions, the Magic are giving up 108.7 points. So that is a negative net rating of negative 1.5, which the Magic are 18th in net rating on the season. And taking a look at kind of like a smaller snapshot of the season and what some people would say kind of like the most significant and most relevant snapshot of the season is the last 15 games in which the Magic have not been playing particularly well. In the last 15 games, the Magic are 30th in the league in offensive rating with an offensive rating of 103.9, 16th in defensive rating with a defensive rating of 114.2, and 28th in overall net rating with a negative net rating of 10.3. And in those 15 games, your Orlando Magic are 4-11. So really struggling the last month plus, and especially in those last 15 games. And Kevin, out of your last 26 games, 26 remaining games, 14 of those games are at home, 12 of those are away. And just a quick look at the injury report. Jalen Suggs officially ruled out for Thursday's game. We've kind of talked about that and alluded to that the last couple of episodes, that he didn't really seem like he was super close before the All-Star break. So I think both of you and I agreed that we would be a little bit surprised to see him come back right after the All-Star break in this game. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how close he is. And then Mo Wagner obviously out for the season with the ACL. Mac McClung, Ethan Thompson, both out. Two-way is their injury designation. So how are we feeling?
Well, I was going to ask you about the Jalen thing really fast. The Magic regathered. I actually think they got back together Tuesday, as far as back at the practice courts and stuff. So Tuesday, Wednesday. Have you seen anything about Jalen's practice availability? Like, have you seen or heard anything about him practicing? I have not.
He was running up and down the court a little bit,
right?
But it's not clear to do any type of contact yet.
Right. That's what I thought. I haven't seen that either, because part of me thought during this break that maybe, if he was closer, that maybe they'd still hold him out Thursday because it's a back-to-back, but then they'd play him Friday at home. But the fact that he's not even practicing still, that leads me to believe, he's just not ready to come back. So that is definitely disappointing, and honestly a little bit surprising. I think if you asked me a week ago, coming off the last game Wednesday, the Charlotte game, that's who it was. I thought, we have 8 days now till our next game. I thought there was a chance that Jalen would come back, but as the break went on and you just heard different things, it's been confirmed. So very disappointing not to have him. And obviously the stats speak for themselves. Like when Jalen plays versus when he doesn't, it's a totally different basketball team. But I think it is an opportunity once again for some guys to step up after getting rest. And we'll see how that goes starting on Thursday.
Yeah, especially because like the last few games leading up to the All-Star break, he was listed as doubtful and then would be ruled out. So it's like, okay, is he going to trend towards questionable and then probable? But the fact that I think he was doubtful a couple of days ago and today was officially ruled out, just because 5:30 the day before a game, unless it's on second night of a back-to-back, those injury designations are due to the league office. So the fact that, again, out, doesn't seem like he's super close to returning is interesting, especially when you consider the fact that now he's missed 20 of the past 21 games.
Wow.
Right? Like
a quarter of the season,
originally went out, I think it was January 3rd at Toronto when he went down with the back spasms, came back January 25th against Detroit, left that game late with the quad contusion, and now has missed the last 10, 11 games, whatever that is. So at what point does he also need the return to competition reconditioning kind of thing? Are we going to go through that same process that we went through with Paolo, we went through with Franz? And at this point, if they are weighing his truly long-term health, like if he rushes back from this, he's putting himself at risk for a significant injury where he could be out a year plus or whatever. Obviously, totally understand that. But if they may be taking it slow because they know that they're going to need him for the long haul the rest of the season and the playoffs, you're kind of playing with fire, because not only do you need him in the long term, you need him in the short term, because you have not been able to prove as of late that you can win games consistently without him. Yeah. And the Magic really haven't been able to win consistently without Jalen all year long.
Right.
So you and I talked before we started recording about, looking forward to the rest of the season here. And I know you're pretty fired up. I cannot really describe the emotion that I'm feeling about the rest of the season, because it's not apathy. It's not indifference. I care deeply about what is going to happen, but I'm just really trying to keep my own emotions and expectations in check, because I genuinely feel that this season could go either way. If you told me the Magic lose their next, maybe not 3 games, because you cannot lose to Washington. I can't believe that would be a reality. But if you tell me that the Magic lose 3 out of their 4 after the All-Star break, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. And if you tell me that the Magic win 3 out of their 4 coming out of the All-Star break, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. I don't know where this team is right now.
I hate to go backwards on you, Jonathan, but
no, that's fine.
I'm still hung up on the Jalen injury for one reason. It's still designated as a left quad contusion. Okay. For those that don't know, a contusion is a fancy word for a bruise, right? Like he got hit on that, fell on that quad, whatever it was.
It was like a hyperextension. If you go back and watch where the injury occurred, like he plants his left foot and you see the knee do that.
That's what I'm getting at, is like, to me, like that, is that designation like really accurate? Like, is it a left quad contusion? Is it something more serious? Is it even leg related? Is it his back bothering him again? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I start to wonder, like, because if it is just what it's saying, I'm not saying you can't have a bad bruise, but like, it's been, what do you say, January 25th or something like that, since 21st, or I don't know what it was. It's been 3 weeks now.
January 25th. Almost a month.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, and if anyone's going to play through, a bruise, it'd be Jalen. So that's, again, where I'm like, it just doesn't exactly add up to me. And I hope it's not anything, sinister or really bad injury-wise. But yeah, it doesn't add up. Like, that doesn't make sense for someone to be out for almost a month for that. So anyway,
the thing that is the most peculiar to me is before the All-Star break, the last time that we saw him practicing, he was taking like set jumpers, like nothing on the move. But the thing that was, again, mostly odd to me was that he seemed to be wearing some type of weighted vest, and you could see that he was like really favoring that left leg, like almost keeping the left foot behind him and putting most of his weight on his right leg. And that was just maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago at the most. So that was just really strange to me. And this team doesn't tell us much when it comes in the way of injuries and injury updates. And what happens in kind of an information vacuum is that people start to draw their own conclusions and conspiracies and things like that. we're not going to be told exactly what is going on. We're just going to get the same, he's day to day kind of, we're going to continue to evaluate him. He's getting a little bit better. Like, we're not going to be told that he's back until he's back.
The Six Man Show is brought to you by our friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. You know they're bringing Jam's culture and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park. They make some of the best chicken, specifically hot chicken, in Central Florida, maybe even in the world, on the planet, in this universe. They're pretty awesome, but also they're just diehard Orlando Magic fans. And so we love to support them, and they love to support this Orlando Magic fan community. You can follow them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media, and check out jamhotchickenfl.com to access the menu and order online and check out all things Jam Hot. But of course, the most important thing, you can visit them at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13 in Hannibal Square. Whether you want the Sando, which is their sandwich, you want the box, which has every good thing they offer thrown into the box, you can get it all there at Jam Hot Chicken. And whenever you visit Jam Hot Chicken, just be sure to let them know that the Six Man Show sent you.
This episode is also brought to you by some of our friends, Magic Matt, Austin Vogt, Bill Fulton, Dead Air, and Victor Cologne. You might be asking, who are these people? These are some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons. They went to patreon.com/the Six Man Show, where for as little as $2 a month, you can help financially support the show, help us do everything that we do. Watch parties, every episode that we do. Honestly, all the post-game lives, the Six Man Show, the Six Fan Show, everything that we do would not be possible without our patrons. So we give a special shout out to some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons every episode. And whenever we have brand new patrons, we give them a special thank you and a special shout out as well. So if you like what we do, if you like the content that we do, even if you don't like the content, but you like our mission, which is really just to help grow the Orlando Magic fan community and try to, grow the fan base and find new Magic fans and make passionate Magic fans as well, and just give this team really the fan base and the home court advantage that we feel like they believe. So if you want to join in on the mission, again, you can find us over at patreon.com/the Six Man Show. Different tiers that you can choose from. But again, for as little as like $2 a month, you can support the show. So again, appreciate all the support from all of our patrons. And let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of, like, as I sit here, I go, left quad contusion. It's been a month, and you're exactly right. That's where we try to fill in our own assumptions or ideas or thoughts or whatever. And so, yeah, I think all that's very interesting. And I would be really surprised and even disappointed if, as you said a second ago, if the Magic are just holding him out because they think they need to save him for the playoffs or a stretch run or whatever. Like, and it's do or die right now. You have to have him.
I'm sending you the link to a tweet from February 10th from Jason Beatty. If you can pull it up right now while we're recording this.
Yep.
If you watch that video, again, he's got some type of vest on, and when he takes these jumpers, am I crazy? Like, thinking that he's keeping that left leg behind him and really putting the most of his weight on that right leg.
Yeah, it definitely looks different. This jumper, at least the first jumper though, that's from half court, so it's a little bit different. It's not like a normal jumper, but yeah, I mean, he definitely,
I guess that's fair.
Definitely is moving, not necessarily the normal way, but.
Hey,
yeah, I don't know.
You know what this could be, though? Remember a couple of seasons ago when we saw Jonathan Isaac walking through the locker room and he kind of took like a long stride to get out of the way, and people thought that was his normal walking gait because of the injuries? We could be doing that to this video, in all fairness.
Yeah, it's possible, yeah. So, anyway, I just cannot imagine the Magic are holding him out for anything. I think whatever is going on, it's legitimate, right? It's not any kind of gamesmanship. It's not like they're trying to save him for a postseason run, because it's do or die at this point, right? Like, this is your run into
sure, though?
What? Yeah, I'm positive.
But if this team, again, they stayed pat at the trade deadline, could they talk themselves into, like, this team isn't just Jalen Suggs? Like, if Paolo comes back 100%, and by all reports, not reports, but what Paolo said was that he was going to be working on his conditioning during this break, and he started to look like he was rounding into form before the All-Star break. Franz obviously has been playing. He took a couple of games to get back to form when he came back, but he's been back to the November level Franz that we saw this year. They could talk themselves into, like, hey, we get these two guys right, everybody else starts shooting the way that they should, and we should be winning games with, regularity.
I would find that really hard to believe. Like, I hear you and I understand
Listen,
that
man,
idea.
There's a lot of things that we found hard to believe that have come to fruition this season.
Yeah.
We found it hard to believe that this team wasn't going to make any moves at the deadline.
Some of us did. Some of us remember said they wanted to, but didn't think it would happen. And then when it didn't happen, that was, I don't know. That would be really surprised. If this team was playing okay basketball before the break, maybe, but this team was free falling, so I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, like, one thing is absolutely undoubtable. Undoubtable, that's not even a word. But anyway, this team needs Jalen Suggs. Like, they're better with him. And so, hopefully
Undoubtable is not a word?
Undoubtable? There's no way that's a word.
Is it?
I think I just made that up. It should be a word. Quickly. If it's not a word, it should be a word.
Undoubtedly.
That's the one I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But undoubtable is pretty good too. Wait, undoubtable is
undoubtable is a word.
Look at me. I know vocabulary, bro. Come on, man.
Come on,
dude.
It's
I
also
eat vocabulary
indubitable.
For breakfast. Correct. Yes, I did know that was a word. Because indubitably, yeah. But yeah. Look at me go. Okay. Anyway, Jalen, we need you back, please. Love you.
So you're fired up about the last. At least the next 8 games.
Listen. Let's settle this down here, okay?
And I'm not saying you don't have reason to be, but like, do you understand why I feel? I feel.
Yes, of course, and you should feel that way. But this is what I said. I didn't say I'm necessarily fired up. I'm saying we have to get fired up because this is do or die right here. Right, the next 8 days is going to like set the table for the rest of the season. Okay, so like. We come back Thursday in Atlanta. We talked about on the last episode, you got to win that game for a lot of reasons. Number one, you're better than Atlanta. Number two, you lost your first game versus Atlanta. And so now we're talking about tiebreakers. Oh, yeah. Number three, speaking of tiebreakers, you're only ahead of them by like a half game, I think you said in the State of the Magic. So you got to win Thursday. Friday against Memphis. That's a really tough game. Second night of a back-to-back, but it's second night of a back-to-back for them too. Sunday, Washington. You got to beat them. Tuesday, Cleveland at home. Rematch from the playoffs. You still haven't beaten them this season. Would love to beat them. Thursday, Golden State at home. That's the stretch I'm talking about here because I know there are a lot of Magic fans that are apathetic, frustrated, disappointed, and have every reason to be. But we have 4 home games in the next 8 days and an opportunity here to reestablish Magic basketball. And so what I'm going into this stretch, like the mindset I'm going into it is with a renewed sense of optimism, but that optimism has an expiration date, and that expiration date is Friday, February 28th. Okay. I need to see with my own eyes over these next 8 days what version of Magic basketball we are going to take into the last third of the season or whatever it is. And I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give it 110%. And I hope if you're going to games, people are listening or watching this, if you're going to those 4 home games, give it 110%, give it your best, support this team, be loud, drown out the Curry fanboys next Thursday. And then let's reevaluate after that. See how it goes. Okay. Let's finish out the month. I believe this team can start the run now. I think they have to. Like, if they're going to make a run, it has to start now. I think they can do it. And then, let's see what happens, in 8 days or so.
So in this 11-game stretch, which started February 8th versus San Antonio, we said you have to go either 8-3 or 7-4. Right now, you're 2-1 in that stretch. It feels like over these next 8 games or next 8 days, 5 games, you have to go 3-2 because that would put you at 5-3 in that stretch. And then you have to sweep Toronto, Chicago to round out that 11-game stretch. If you don't go 3-2 in that stretch, it kind of feels like the Magic are just going to be in the play-in at that point. Because that would tell you, unless, crazy things happen, injuries happen, whatever. We don't want that stuff to happen. It really feels like the Magic cannot withstand another significant injury to an important role rotation guy, right?
Yeah.
So for one reason or another, if you can't find a way to get 3 wins from Atlanta, Memphis, Washington, Cleveland, Golden State, I am just going to kind of feel emotionally resigned to the Magic are going to be in the play-in. And we should just start accepting that as a reality. And if those expectations are exceeded, then we can celebrate. But that's kind of where I am at. Because we said this 11-game stretch is the season. If the Magic end up 6-5 or 5-6, goodness forbid, during that stretch, we're just a play-in team. And if that's because we don't have Jalen Suggs, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked and answered about this roster and how we all could have been, not just the front office, but how we all could have been so wrong about what we were seeing with this team. So I will give you this. I can muster up being fired up for the next 8 days.
There we go.
But there is a hard, I'm talking about taking the milk out of the fridge and setting it in the sun for 24 hours kind of expiration date.
Yep.
On that, enthusiasm. And the biggest thing for me is as fans, our responsibility is to try to pick this team up when they need it.
Yep.
So if you're going to be at these games Friday or Sunday or Tuesday or Thursday or next Sunday or the following Tuesday or the following Thursday, any of these games coming up in this next stretch, the building has to be rocking. Because it's easy to say oh, well, the team needs to give us something to cheer about. And I do believe in that, to a certain extent. They've got to give you a spark. They've got to give you something to sort of get the energy going. But Kia, over the course of the last couple of seasons, has really proved time and time again that they don't need much to get going. Right. They need a 2-minute stretch of a dunk and a block and somebody hitting a three and a steal and a layup on the other end, and then the place is on fire. So if the Magic can put a stretch like that together, Kia Center will answer the bell, so to speak. But it's going to be important to really give this team energy right out of the gate when these guys get home, because Jalen Suggs isn't going to be there, it seems to give them that jump start. So if you're at these games, you have to be ready to bring it from opening tip and try to inject some life into this team.
I'm also going to take it a step further, because of how we saw the Magic over the last month and a half before the break. Not only do I think the Magic need to go 3-2 in this 5-game stretch, they need to be competitive in all 5 games. Everyone. There should not be a single blowout loss in this stretch. I know Memphis is very good. I know Cleveland is very good. I know Golden State is good. If this team wants to, again, kind of reset and reestablish Magic basketball for the last 26 games of this season, we cannot have blowouts at home. It's just not in our DNA. At least we think it's not in our DNA. It hasn't been for the last couple seasons until the last month and a half. And so 3-2 is one thing, but I want if at least 3-2, and those 2 losses better be competitive. And I'll also say those 2 losses better come to Memphis, Cleveland, or Golden State, honestly, right? Like you said, you absolutely cannot lose to Washington. You can't do it. You can't do it. And if you are going to lose to Atlanta, which I really hope you don't, then you need to win the rest of them. You got to go 4-1 then at that point. I'm not going to accept a loss to Atlanta plus a loss to Cleveland or Memphis or what, I don't know. But I need to see some competitive basketball over 48 minutes, and 3 of those need to be wins. And then, like I said, 8 days from now, we can reassess, and hopefully it sets us up for some success the rest of the way.
With the talent that is on this roster, you should be able to split Cleveland, Golden State. I know they have Jimmy Butler and all that kind of stuff, but you just should be able to. You should be able to get that done. Looking at Golden State's schedule here, so
you almost beat them in San Francisco too.
Yeah. Taking a look here. There we go. Their schedule is all kind of weird. Doesn't look anything like ours does on ESPN because they have all these nationally televised games. But they're home for Charlotte on Tuesday. Wednesday, they'll fly to Orlando. So it's not like they're going to be waiting or anything like that. They, it's not a big rest advantage or anything like that. You should just be able to win that game. And you should get up for that Cleveland game, right? Yep. Rematch of the playoffs, nationally televised game. You've gotten stomped repeatedly on national TV this year. You've got Paolo, you've got Franz. Like that game needs to be competitive. I don't want to see a blowout as good as Cleveland's been. Like you got to find a way to muck that game up a little bit, slow their offense down, and win. Like this team needs to get back to being a top 5 defense. Over these last 26 games, if you're not a top 5 defense, we've failed. We haven't reached the standard. We haven't met our expectations. We're not playing to the level that they need to. So I'm right there with you. Like this, and Jamal Mosley has talked about this. Like 5-game stretches. Like let's go 3-2 in this 5-game stretch, or 4-1, or 5-0 would be incredible. We go 5-0, and we'll be sitting here 2 podcasts from now. There'll be a very different Jonathan talking. You know, I'll be right back in. I'll be 100% bought in again to this team if they're able to go 5-1 or 5-0 in this stretch and have some convincing wins.
I'll just also add, you go 5-0 in this stretch, we're now in conversations for 5th seed, maybe even talking about the 4th seed. So you go 5-0, yes, absolutely. That means you've gained, because more than likely the other teams are going to go 2-3, 3-2 in the same 5-game stretch. You know, and so that'll put you within a couple games of those spots. You know, you're sitting here,
you'd probably be 2 to 3 games back of Indiana,
or
Milwaukee, whoever you should be at that point.
You should be, a game
with 21 games to go. Okay,
you see what I'm saying? Like it totally changes the atmosphere, right? Totally changes it. And so I agree. Now 5-0 would be crazy. If you go 5-0 against teams like Memphis, Cleveland, and Golden State, that would be insane.
Well, then we're back.
That's exactly right. We're totally back. But that feels like a long shot.
It feels.
I'm going to start with asking for 3-2, and we'll see where we go from there.
Well, let's start with this week. Thursday at Atlanta, home for Memphis on Friday, home for Washington. You have to go 2-1.
Yep.
You've got to beat Atlanta. You got to beat Washington. If you lose to Memphis, I'm not going to be that upset about it. I just want it to be competitive. I don't want it to be a blowout. I don't want it to be a game where you're down 18 and you come back and you lose by 5.
Yeah.
I want this to be single digits, 10, 11 points at the most, and then you have a close loss in the last few minutes of this game. Worst case scenario.
Yeah. I'm with you. 2-1.
We go 3-0, and you will hear from me February 24th. There will be a little bit of a pep in my step if we beat Atlanta convincingly. We, claw out a win against the Grizzlies, and we beat Washington convincingly. I'll be, a little bit of swagger waking up that Monday morning for sure.
Love that. Yeah. And then you're going into Cleveland, not into Cleveland, but into the Cleveland matchup, feeling a certain kind of way, We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So what do you, I know we've kind of done the week ahead already, but.
Yeah, 2-1. We said the same thing.
Lose to Memphis.
Yeah. Beat Atlanta, beat Washington, lose to Memphis. But I don't think that Memphis game is unwinnable. They're also on a second night of a back-to-back. They're coming from Indiana, I believe, if I remember from Monday's episode. They play in Indiana on Thursday. Got to fly to Orlando on Friday. So still very possible. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, 2-1 has to be the absolute bare minimum for these 3 games.
Yeah. We talked obviously about Paolo at the beginning. We talked about the shoes. And we mentioned how he was going into the All-Star break, like really focused on his conditioning. A lot of people have pointed this out. We're not saying anything profound here, but Paolo has not looked quite the same since he's been back. Started to round into form the last couple of games, mostly because the jump shot is coming back to life. We have not seen that like hyper aggressive Paolo Banchero just bullying his way to the rim, getting a ton of free throw attempts. I think part of that is because he has not been making his free throws. So maybe a little bit apprehensive about like getting to the rim and drawing fouls and contact and having to go to the line and make free throws. But if the Magic are, especially without Jalen Suggs, if the Magic are going to bounce back heading, into this last 26 game stretch, they need Paolo Banchero to get back to like last year, for example, 7 free throw attempts per game, 72%. This year, he's at 7.5 attempts, but he's shooting 65% at the free throw line. Like he has to bounce back. Like last 5 games, and it looks like he's shown a little bit of life there. What was that against Sacramento? 4 of 5 at the line. Against Denver, 5 of 8. Against the Spurs, 3 of 4. Against the Hawks, 7 of 8. Against the Hornets, 4 of 5. So he's showing signs of life there, but we need, again, we can't be having these 4 and 5 attempt games. We need 7, 8, 9, 10 plus attempts and need him to be shooting at that, 70, 73% clip that we're accustomed to. That's going to give him a few more points, going to allow him to play with more of that physicality and more confidence, and it's just going to suck that defense in a little bit more, kick out. Guys have to be making shots. I meant to bring this up a little earlier, but our guy Brandon Jones, if you don't follow him already on Twitter, you can find him at ORL. I believe it's ORL_analytics, or you can just search for ORL analytics. He'll come up. But he put together this table for us where he calculated basically like relative 3-point percentage. So it's a team's 3-point percentage relative to the rest of the league, relative to the league average. So going back to like 2001, so the Magic right now, their 3-point percentage is 30.6, and that is 5.3% worse than the rest of the league. So that's kind of how you calculate the relative 3-point percentage. So going back to 2001, the Magic would have the 7th worst relative 3-point percentage out of any team since 2001. So that is absolutely astoundingly awful. So like, again, we've been saying this all season long to keep myself sane and just to like feel like I'm still attached to reality and we're not living in a simulation. I have to believe that the rest of the way, this team can find a way to be an average 3-point shooting team. And we've seen signs of that pretty recently. In the last 15 games, let me pull this up here, pulling up traditional stats on NBA.com. And in the last 15 games, the Magic are dead last, 29%. Let's say the last 5 games, Kevin. Where are the Magic in 3-point percentage here? In the last 5 games, the Magic are 34%. We'll take that. Give that to me the last 26 games of the year. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I also want to add, I got part of this stat from NBA.com when they did their recent power rankings, but obviously Magic, not a great 3-point shooting last year. 3-point shooting team last year, 35%. They also had the biggest drop this season. So they have dropped 5 percentage points from last year to this year, which is crazy. To be not good last year, to be historically bad this year. Okay, that's part one. Part two, there are 123 players in the NBA that are shooting league average or better, which is 35.9%. Of course, none of those wear an Orlando Magic jersey, which is crazy to think about. Think about that. 123 players. You average that out across the 29 other NBA teams. That means the other 29 NBA teams, the average is 4 players per team are shooting 35.9%. That's the average. Okay. The fact that the Magic have 0 is crazy, especially considering, as we've talked about many times on this show, the fact that there are several players on this team that historically have shot league average. So numbers say, the law of averages say, eventually it has to level out. Is it going to do that over these last 26 games? I really don't know. But like you said, there are a couple of positive trends going that direction. But look, this team got a week off. Everybody except Mac McClung, AB, Tristan Da Silva, and Trevelyan Queen didn't have all-star responsibilities. A lot of time off, a lot of rest, a lot of work in the gym, getting conditioning, up and running, if it in Paolo's case or whoever else. If there was ever a time this season to start hitting your threes like an team, an average, whatever. I can't even talk. It better be now. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know, spring training is getting going.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, it's baseball. Baseball's right around the corner, yeah.
Are you familiar with the 1999 science fiction masterpiece, The Matrix?
Yes. I didn't know where you're going with that. Yes, I am.
Remember Switch and APOC, just being unplugged?
Yeah.
If the Magic can't get back to, around league average, just unplug me.
Ouch.
I don't want to live in a reality. Okay, or maybe Cypher is a better example where he's like, I want to be put back in the Matrix. I don't want to remember anything. Like, if this is reality, put me back in the Matrix.
Yep.
Put me back in the Matrix of last season when we were at least league average. I don't want to live in a reality where the Magic for a full 82 game season can't put together a quarter of the season where they shoot the ball relatively average.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we don't even want to be good, guys. We're not asking to be good.
I'm not asking for good or spectacular.
Just average.
I will even take slightly below average. I'm not even asking for average. Yeah. Give me slightly below average shooting for the rest of the year.
That's so sad.
Like, it is genuinely crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks, rest of the season, you got 8 days. You can't figure it out over the course of the next 8 days. It's not looking good. It's really not. It won't be impossible, but I will just start to mentally and emotionally prepare myself for a playing game at that point. So,
yeah.
All right, Kev. I don't really have anything else.
I think we just really fast get people to save the date, March 14th.
Oh,
next
March
watch
14th.
Party.
Yes, I failed to bring that up at the beginning. So,
yeah,
if you missed our watch party last month at Stadium Club, mark your calendars. March 14th, we're running it back at Stadium Club. The Magic are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves that night.
Yep.
So tip-off to that game is pulling up the schedule right now. March 14th, tip-off for that game is at 8 o'clock. So that watch party will kick off around 7:30. If you've seen pictures, you've seen videos of Stadium Club, it's genuinely the best venue that we do watch parties at. So the food was fantastic. I had the burger. Forget exactly what they call the burger there, though. But it had like pickled red onion on it, which I'm a huge fan of. And when you see it, you're like, all right, I mean, it kind of looks like an average burger, but the ingredients are so fresh and just like crisp and crunchy. Like, the burger was phenomenal. Everybody that had anything there, like, they have this massive pretzel there as well. Like, the food is great. The atmosphere is great. Just really looking forward to that. So mark your calendars for Friday, March 14th, when the Magic play the Minnesota Timberwolves. Again, we'll be at Stadium Club, located at the Caribe Royale Resort. And they were the Caribe Royale Resort Stadium Club. They were so good to us last time. Even if you're not coming to a watch party, you just need somewhere to stay in Orlando, or you're looking for somewhere to catch a game, like, you could do much worse than Caribe Royale Orlando and Stadium Club. So, Kevin, thank you for reminding me again. That's going to be Friday, March 14th. Really looking forward to that. And Kevin will be at this one.
Heck yeah, I'll be there. I can't wait. I'm so fired up. Let's go.
Okay, but I think that's actually all that we have.
That's
right?
actually it, yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!